I'm sorry, I didn't notice you. Let me put down my glass of port. Welcome to an After Dark of the Phantom Zone. Tonight will be one would say, audacious episode, because nothing but class shall be portrayed for everyone here.
Only the classiest members of Phantom Zone are on this episode right now.
Yes, only the ones that exude so much class and professionalism and
the true consummate, like the essence of Phantom Zone are here. You know,
you said After Dark. I was going to say Extra Dark.
Yeah.
Ooh, buy me dinner first.
Ooh, getting real racy already.
The main perpetrators are not here, so the inmates are now running the asylum.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly, the ones who would keep us on some sort of leash, or wouldn't want us to do an episode like this.
Yeah, or the ones who don't say horrible shit.
Well, while we're here, I'm Erik Fedorchak. I will be your host of sorts for the evening. And who else is here?
Hunter Davenport, the consummate professional, and the truly the spirit, the essence of the Phantom Zone. Truly, just the one they all think of.
So when you cut our veins open, it's literally Hunter's face just piles out.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
I'm John Scott. I'm keeping this running joke alive because Connor made a joke that I was the hired help last time on a movie special, so I'm going to keep that joke alive.
He's a mercenary.
Sure, I'm going to go with that one.
That works.
And I'm Lou Gonzalez, and I hope you guys can hear this.
Very good. Oh. What type of beer are you opening up?
A Big Bad Baptist quadruple barrel stout.
Oh man,
this isn't your normal After Dark. We broke out the alcohol.
That's right.
Lou's going to be a little bit tipsy by the end of this, I would imagine.
Yeah,
start sounding off awful things, guys.
It's been one of those kind of weeks.
Yeah,
Arlen and Connor are going to look at this, and be like, "Oh, what did we do?"
If you couldn't tell by now, Arlen and Connor could not join us for a myriad of reasons. But yeah, I had suggested that we try and do something a little bit different, and we'll see how well this actually works. But I had suggested we try and discuss comic book video game. Because, I mean, for me, at least recently, it came to mind because I saw the cover of the latest Game Informer, and it had a Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on the cover.
The game that's going to make me buy a Switch.
Yeah, it's going to make me borrow my son's Switch for quite a while.
I already had one, sucker.
Hey, Dad, can I have my Switch back? No. You have to go to work.
I don't work anymore. I'm living off credit and going bankrupt.
I bought a Switch Online subscription. It's fine.
Thanos has the stones. You don't understand.
Listen, you weren't alive when this game came out when I was younger.
If you can beat me in a fist fight, you can get it back.
Corporal punishment.
Exactly.
If you can escape the belt, you'll get it.
But yeah, how do we want to start this? Do we want to talk about the worst games that we've ever played that are based on comics? Do we want to talk about our favorite ones?
I feel like before we start with that, I want to talk about like where we all kind of come from in terms of our game experience, because I don't think we've talked much about games on this show, at least from my general perspective.
No, we touch on it, but it's never something we've really delved into. No, that's a good call.
We've ever really deep dived in.
Well, guess what, fuckers?
Yeah. You're going to know way too much information about us now.
I was just saying, so Eric, how old were you when you got Pong? Were you like 12 or 14?
Jesus Christ. Actually, I was not born yet, so fuck you.
I would actually be ecstatic if I got like a Pong console right now.
If I got like the Odyssey, which yes, I do know through research, I would be kind of happy.
No, I like people in like the Phantom Zone chat know this. Like I like old video games, so like I think this stuff's super interesting. But like,
oh bless your soul.
There's something, I don't know. There's something really funny about how people were just super into watching two paddles, but like knock a ball back and forth.
Well,
I equate it to the DVD screen where you have that little screensaver going to the corner. Yeah. It's basically that.
Yeah, children, like that was basically the best entertainment they had at that point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that was the peak of technology at a certain point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it definitely was. I don't remember the exact history, but I know it was some sort of crazy computer that some college students were working on, and they're like, or maybe it was professors. Regardless, someone within a collegiate level was working on it with some friends. They're just like, oh, hey, look, we made this. And they made Pong on some ridiculous supercomputer.
Like, before that, like, they were just like there were video game systems where basically you just, like, put, like, a plastic screen on your television.
Yep.
And then there'd be lights behind it. And, like, that's fucking nuts that was a thing.
Yeah, well, that was, like, Vectrex or something.
The Vectrex,
Vectrex, that's it. Yep.
I'm trying to think. I know my parents had it in television. That's like the gen after.
Oh, man.
Actually, that was my first system. Like, it was in television. Yep.
My mom back in the day had an old Atari, and I don't think we have it anymore. But if we had that old Atari, you bet you'd play it till to this day.
Oh yeah, you could very easily own every Atari game you've ever too. They're super cheap.
Yeah, you could also own them all on a thumb drive and still have like 300 gigs left.
Play them on your computer.
Yeah.
I always try to remember. I had this one friend that had like every system, and he had this one system that had like 3 games before it died. I think it was the Jaguar. It was either the Jaguar or the 3DO.
It sounds like it may be the 3DO.
Yeah, was it cartridge or CD based?
I think it was cartridge.
Then that was a Jaguar, because the 3DO was CD based.
Yeah, because the CD, it was like Sega CD, the 3DO were the first 2 CD based. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
So I actually got to hold a working Jaguar in my hands because I live in Jersey, so shout out to Digital Press of a couple of towns. If you know what I'm talking about, if you live in Jersey, good for you. But I actually held a working one in my hand. I'm like, oh my god, this is what it looks like. Good lord.
God, I'm
it wasn't that big. It was like the same size as a Genesis, if I remember correctly.
Oh man.
And the controller was worse than an Intellivision controller.
Yeah.
I mean, Virtual Boy, but you know.
I was a Sega kid growing up, so like the CD and all that shit, like that was I only had the Genesis and I think a Saturn.
Yeah.
Mine was the Nintendo 64 was my very first one.
My first was the NES, and then I was given a Sega Genesis later on.
Yeah, it's my brother got a Nintendo, and then he bought a Sega Genesis with his first job, because I'm 4 years younger than my brother, so he's as old as Carry the Five, I think Jupiter. And I always just rode on his coattails when it came to video games, and then once Super Nintendo came out, that's when I was just like, oh, this is my shit. And yeah, I think actually I'd made a deal with my dad. Like if I'd gotten a certain grade point average when I was a freshman in high school, he would buy me this used Super Nintendo and Final Fantasy II. And lo and behold, I did it. And yeah, that was the first game I ever had for my Super Nintendo.
I had the same deal for Genesis, but and probably no one will remember this, but it was actually the first online thing. Sega Cable, I think was called.
Oh, I heard about that.
Sega TV.
Sega TV. Yes, I had it.
Oh, no, it was a different thing.
I just read those Console Wars books, so I literally learned about all of this maybe a couple months ago.
The weirdest thing. So it's a cartridge, and you screwed in a coaxial cable into the back of the cartridge.
Yep. Yeah.
And that was the only way I was allowed to. Oh, they didn't know I was playing it, but Beavis and Butthead was on it. It was one of the first games.
Well, actually, the Sega TV too. It's something that just got announced for the new Sega Mini console. Wily Wars, which was only available on Sega TV, which is
I didn't see this. That's actually super interesting that Wily Wars is on that.
Yeah, they just announced like 10 new games or 10 more games for it out of the 40. Like they've announced 30 now. But Wily Wars was the first 3 Nintendo Mega Man games.
That makes it worth it alone for that.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember like the games that were on. There was like Beavis and Butthead, Toe Jam and Earl. And then, do you remember Spot, which was a game for 7-Up?
Yes.
Which was actually rad as hell.
Wait, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Cool Spot for a second. I was going to be like, wait a minute.
Cool Spot's the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You are talking about Cool Spot.
Yeah, the 7-Up thing.
Yeah, that... man, there's going to be a whole like episode we could do about like fucking crazy brand games.
Yes. Yes. But to bring it back around to the original topic, now that we've established where we're coming from video games wise, I was there when Caveman first was drawing things on walls and moving it around. I don't know where would you guys like to go first? Do you want to go worst games? Do you want to go best games or favorite games?
Can we go what our first comic book video game was? And then maybe like a Mount Rushmore afterwards?
I could do that.
Yeah,
I could
totally do that.
I vividly remember my first video game.
I have like vivid memories.
Yeah.
Do we want to go in age order, or
that might work best? Yeah,
I'm the youngest here. Shit,
I'm the second oldest, so that's why
I'm the third. I'm the middle child. I'm the most loved.
No one in the middle is a green kangaroo.
Fuck
right.
you.
So yeah, for me, and yeah, I guess the earliest like superhero video game was either Spider-Man on Atari or Superman on Atari. Yeah, and just imagine what Atari graphics looked like, and imagine what.
No, I'm just imagining. I'm literally imagining the retro. If you guys seen the show Retro Replay with Nolan North and Troy Baker, the episode where they play Spider-Man, the first episode.
That's the first episode.
Oh wow! Yeah, that game is terrible.
That game sucks.
I think it broke Nolan North actually.
You have a limited amount of web fluid, so whatever for the sake of reality. But it's just bad. It's so bad.
Thank God that never came back.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a game, but there was constantly refills everywhere.
I guess I don't know. I mean, we're talking about when I was like 7.
The one where I can't remember the exact title, but it was just Spider-Man. I played it on the PC.
Was it the one on the original PlayStation that you could play as the what the heck is the bag? Where you have the bag on your head? Is one of the concepts?
The original Bagman.
Yeah. I think that's what you're talking about.
Okay. But yeah, the Superman game was equally horrid, and I don't even remember what you were supposed to do. I remember there were points.
For some reason, I'm thinking of the Commodore 64 one, but I know it's a different game.
It might be. Who knows?
I remember. I watched gameplay of that, and like I remember, all you basically do is climb a building, right?
In the Spider-Man game, yeah. You get up to a certain point, and the Green Goblin's up there, and then you go up to a door, and you win.
I bet you, if you could go back in time and show people like Spider-Man on PS4 right now, they would lose their fucking minds.
Well, they would try and kill you and take your future technology. And then,
I think they'd burn you at the stake, be like, burn the witch!
You could probably conquer the world with a PS4.
Fuck, with an iPhone. Well, that's the thing, though. They wouldn't be able to look at it because you wouldn't have HDMI connections on those TVs. Yeah.
You have to bring a TV with you.
Yeah.
And that's too cumbersome.
I don't feel like bringing a giant-ass TV, like, around time. That's too lazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I was trying to figure out, and I had to do a little Googling to see. So, the first two, I basically played at the same time, but the first one that actually came out was the NES version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude, that game.
The side-scroller.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine actually also, I'll wait till you're done, mine also concerns the Turtles.
And then my second one was Batman the Motion Picture, the video game.
Oh, the Sunsoft one.
Yeah.
That one's rad.
Now, is that based off the 89 one, or is that based off the
89 one?
Yeah, so based off, the movie.
The original movie. So it's Batman the Motion Picture, the video game.
They give him a gun in that game for some reason.
Yeah, and he's purple. He's weirdly purple.
He's capping fools.
Yeah, that game was so rad.
But they're both very, very similar games. Like they're side-scrolling adventure, Double Dragon style, like Ninja Gaiden-ish.
I think they perfected it with what was it, Batman Returns.
But with Turtles, or at least with Batman, you didn't have to swim through fucking electrified seaweed.
Yeah.
And you didn't have that terrible top-down like a turtle wagon thing.
Love it.
Remember, I always mix up the first Turtles and the second Turtles.
The second one was the one that was based on the arcade game.
Yeah, the beat 'em up, big beat 'em up machine that's always at arcade.
Yeah, that was actually when we get going to mine. That was actually my first game. Was I remember being a 5-year-old and walking into at the local pool, walking into the snack bar, and lo and behold, there's the cabinet for a Ninja Turtles game.
We here in New Hampshire we have Fun Spot, and I live I'm lucky enough to live like down the street from Fun Spot, essentially.
Nice.
So come find me. So they have the Simpsons and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones. I put a lot of time in a Turtle.
You ever played the X-Men one?
Yes, the X one's really good.
So good.
Is it the X-Men or the Avengers one, or are they two separate?
They're
separate.
Separate.
Okay.
The X-Men one is the one that has Colossus' super moves where he just goes and exploding around him for some reason.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Avengers, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I remember I put a lot of quarters into.
Yeah.
Played a lot of that.
Oh, I just remember that Avengers one, like Vision's like the weird white Vision.
Yep.
Yeah, he's like that weird era where Vision was just like a phantom.
Yeah.
That's why he took out all his personality.
Yeah. The first villain was it Whirlwind?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was Whirlwind. The guy with the big green outfit.
Yeah, I think in X-Men the first villain is Pyro.
Yeah, I think you're right. Damn.
That shows you how how much I've played these games. So I can still remember these villains.
Well, that was with the X-Men arcade game. I remember I went to Busch Gardens, I think my junior year. My parents went down to Virginia and they brought me with over the summer. And they brought me over to Busch Gardens and here you go, which I had no idea that I was going to do. And they gave me $50 and went on some rides. And then I discovered an arcade there and they had the X-Men game, which I'd never seen before. And needless to say, I spent probably about $20 playing that game, as opposed to actually going out and doing anything, buying food for myself with that $50.
I don't know, I had a friend who did the exact same thing. He's like, I'm going to get this PlayStation Portable game instead of actual food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the X-Men need you. Why would you eat?
Exactly.
And I grew up in Jersey too, John, is that there was a roller rink that had all of these arcade games in it. It had the X-Men one, it had TMN, it actually had the Turtles in Time.
That's a good game.
Turtles in Time was the shit.
All my experience with Turtles in Time is the NES port.
The Super Nintendo port, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as good.
But yeah, that game's really good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess, like Lou had said, do we want to talk about our Mount Rushmore? I guess of
that'll be your top 4 games for those who are not American. We had to explain this on the comic show to Connor Irving one time. He's like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Your top 4." And he's like, "Oh." And we don't.
I think, if I may, I want to I think my top 4, 2 of those are definitely Marvel Ultimate. Yeah.
I see.
I love the first one. I'm not a big fan of the second one.
The only reason why I'm putting those 2 on there is because I'm about to make you guys feel real old. I grew up with those games, so
I was in school. High school,
I was in an apartment at that point. I was an adult with an adult job. Yeah, no, nope.
X-Men Legends game too.
I was gonna say, I would put in X-Men Legends before Ultimate.
X-Men Legends 2, honestly, is the better one.
Yes. Although it had a fatal bug at the end of it that you couldn't beat the game if you got a disc that had the error on it.
Oh, yep, I remember that. I remember being salty about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had it for the Xbox, and I got to that point. I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding?"
Yeah, I think to talk about those games, the reason why I like X2 and Ultimate Alliance 1 better is there's so many more characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
half the fun of those games is just playing as anybody. There's so many deep cut characters. I think. I can't remember if it's in 1 or 2. Is it Songbird? Is it X-Men? Or is it a Marvel character? I can't remember. It's the one that can make the hard light.
Screaming Mimi. Yeah. Songbird. She's Songbird at that point. But you can play as the Thunderbolts in Ultimate Alliance too, which is awesome because I love the Thunderbolts. So it's
that was the thing I really loved about those games, because I would personally put at least the first one on my Mount Rushmore. They even went to the point that you could make teams that would then get bonuses if they were based on comic book teams. If you put all 4 members of the Fantastic Four, they'd be like, okay, you get this bonus because it's the actual Fantastic Four. But you couldn't you also do the new Fantastic Four if you put
it was Wolverine,
Hulk, Spider-Man, and Ghost Rider.
Yeah. And there would be a magic bonus one, or Bruisers, X-Men. I'm trying to think of some other weird ones.
I think there was a True Love one where they had
it was Daredevil, Elektra, and Jean Grey, Wolverine.
Or Scott and Jean.
Scott and Jean,
one. Yeah. But they put so much thought into the game, and it shows that the people who were making it actually love comics.
I think there was a Midnight Suns one too, where it was Ghost Rider, Blade, Doctor Strange, and somebody else.
I'm not sure who else.
I would love if they put a remaster of those games out, but
they kind of did.
There is.
Yeah.
I would have great ports, honestly. But if you ever play the games, they're worth the money.
Yeah, I bought them. The online stuff, they're just dog shit. You're oh, you can play online. And me and Ryan, who's in the Phantom Zone, have tried to do it 10 times. and it just crashes every time. Their servers are dog shit.
That's because like the people like Activision and shit like that. Pretty much.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I bought them how long ago? It wasn't all that long ago, like let's say 3 to 6 months, but apparently there was a while there that they weren't available.
Yep, they took them down.
Yeah, okay, I remember that.
I don't know why. That's weird.
I think they're having so many problems with the servers, and like people are just like shitting on them. But they just want to put them anyway.
I like it's part of the reason. Like those ports are part of the reason why I think 3 is a Switch exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they released it was such a shitstorm like that. I'm sure it was hard for them to sell a third version of the game.
I actually think it blew up the hype for them more, and Nintendo was smart to just buy it up.
Yeah,
Nintendo has, and I'm not a big Nintendo person, but they have like this weird lack of
third
party support.
It's not something Nintendo. Yeah. And I love Nintendo. Like, don't get me wrong. I buy almost every console. I play every major Nintendo release. But it's like they're not a company you go to for cutting edge technology.
No, you go to it for their like first party games, like Mario, Zelda, and Smash Brothers, all those kind of things. And that's
ARMS, you guys.
Yeah.
ARMS is fantastic.
Really fun. It's just really funny how like they made that. But yeah,
you can make spaghetti. Make that with ARMS.
It's to me it makes sense though. Like Nintendo and Marvel's like the biggest thing on earth right now. Like everyone's talking about Marvel, and like Nintendo is also equally as huge in my eyes. Like they're a company who like
recently with the Switch and everything coming out, Nintendo's been like on the bounce back since the Wii U. So
they know that they need buzz, and like I think this is a smart move for them.
Well, and hey, this game actually hasn't announced it's announced the release date as opposed to that fucking
another one that may or may not come out.
Which one? Final Fantasy VII?
No, Avengers Project.
Oh god, I want that game so bad. I just don't know what the hell it is.
I don't even know what it is. No,
I'm hoping E3. I'm hoping E3 will be something.
I'm gonna stick to my gun and saying it's coming in June. I say this every year though. That of mine. But I think they'd be stupid to not show it right now. I think they'd absolutely be stupid not show something.
They'd have to, but
Endgame's still in theaters. Like, come on.
Yeah.
No, that'd be stupid. Spider-Man right around the corner. They'd be idiotic not to show something in June.
Yep.
So, do we want to? I guess, John, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go with my Mount Rushmore. My Mount Rushmore is also a little unfair because I have 2 with the same character on mine.
Oh, I would say let's do one each and then work our way back around.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think we've all agreed, or at least 3 of us have agreed that Marvel Ultimate Alliance would be on there, while Hunter made the mistake of saying
okay, because mine would be 2 Spider-Man games, but I'm gonna go with something. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. Mine would be Ninja Turtles, the '90s arcade game.
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect.
Batman Arkham City.
Yep. That's a solid choice.
The new Spider-Man that just came out last year.
That
game's incredible.
I can't that game is so fucking good.
I never been I remember just sitting down and playing. I'm like, this is literally one of the greatest things I've ever played. Oh my!
It's like one of the best Spider-Man things to come out recently, honestly. And I love Homecoming and the MCU and all that. That
Into the Spider-Verse were the 1-2 punch for me.
Yeah, it just came out in a time where Spider-Man was on everyone's minds.
Yeah, and the story is amazing, beyond amazing.
The story is legitimately good too. It's probably the best Spider-Man game. And
it's I never got tired once of swinging around New York City.
Nope.
It's one of the first games I've ever platinumed on PS4 and then platinumed the DLC.
Yeah.
And please don't take my lack of saying anything that I don't believe you, but I just don't have a PS4, so I haven't gotten to play it.
Okay, Eric, once you do, I don't want to overhype it for you, but that game is
so good.
It's gorgeous. There's one little thing I don't love about it, and I think it's just because it takes you out of the game. But sometimes I guess I like it more when it's one character than the other. I don't know why I'm trying not to spoil it. Should
I? The game's old. You can go ahead and spoil it. I already know everything.
Yeah, I'm not as big of a fan of the Mary Jane parts.
That's not uncommon.
Yeah, for some reason I forgive it more for Miles because we know Miles is going to do, but like the Mary Jane parts, I'm like, why are you doing this?
Well, Miles, it feels more thematic and like part of the story.
Mary
Jane, we put Mary Jane in this. Like,
yeah, like why is she doing this? You're just a person. Stop trying to prove something.
It's like this Mary Jane is like more capable. I like other ones. But it feels like they went too far in the direction of making her seem like a strong character because she's the most capable out of like all of the non-powered people.
Oh yes, it's just like it's more like why are you doing this? Like you don't have to do this. Like I get that you're because there are like I think because it's like 2 or 3 times you
There's one where I'm like, are you stupid? What are you doing?
Yes, exactly. Is it the museum one?
Well.
I'm trying to think.
I don't want to spoil it for Eric because it's such a great moment.
Yeah.
Someone shows up.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I will be fine.
There is a mission in a warehouse, and a certain Spider-Man villain shows up, and it's pretty great. But she's also stupid for doing what she does.
Which one is this? I'm trying to remember now which is. It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's Tombstone.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love the version of Tombstone they get.
Tombstone's so badass in that game. Did you do the boss mission?
Yeah, I played all of the game.
Okay, yeah. That fight is legitimately one of the best fights.
I think just the whole story, I bring on the story, like that story is so good. What they do with Otto Octavius, what they do with Aunt May, what they do with Mary Jane, everything about that story works.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I won't lie, going back and playing it after Stanley's death and seeing that cameo, I'm like, oh.
Oh, it might be the best cameo of anything he ever did.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like, I had seen, like, video from the gameplay of that particular scene, and it's just like, oh, so that's how Stanley died. They just put him in this game, and he lives in there forever.
He has 4 hard drives somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, it's
like
ridiculous.
That Johnny Depp movie, except it's just a computer just keeps saying Excelsior.
It's just Kevin Feige's personal PS4 has Stanley's
Excelsior
on it.
If I could pay $50 to have Siri be just Stanley's voice, I would pay it.
Yeah,
God, that'd be so great.
Siri, put on this music. Okay, true believers.
Yes, all I want for forever.
But I know at this point, Insomniac would be stupid to not have a sequel come out, and when that sequel comes out,
I think Sony would be stupid too if they were like, we'll make a sequel. Like, here's not all the money in the world.
They left off for a sequel, and they left off some very interesting plot threads, especially in the DLC too.
Where I'm like, what they could do could possibly be like better than the first game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the way it normally goes with a lot of superhero video games.
Well, the approach they take for Harry Osborn is different than anything I was ever expecting.
Yeah, that's way different.
Yeah, I heard about that. So, John, did you have one more you were going to add?
Yes, I actually was thinking because I was going to put 2 Spider-Man games, but no, now I just remember the Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Oh, good choice.
That game is, like, I have experience with Hulk games. Like, I
really forgot that game existed until I just looked it up. I'm like, oh, wait, shit, yeah, this exists.
It's a shame that has not been remastered yet.
It's like an indirect, not really a tie-in to Incredible Hulk, right?
No, it's not at all.
It's an Incredible Hulk game based off the movie, but this is like an actual Ultimate Spider-Man was like a game too.
Okay, I mix them up all the time because I think they came out kind of close together.
3 years apart.
Hunter, what was that one game for? I guess it was PS3 and Xbox 360. The one where you were infected with some sort of disease and you had superpowers, essentially.
Prototype?
No,
Prototype.
Yes,
Prototype.
Prototype. The company that made Prototype are the ones who made this Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that.
You can see like the bones of the Incredible Hulk in Ultimate Destruction in that game. Like there are things that carry over, which is insane.
Which is funny because I feel like that game. Well, Prototype is kind of the same game as Infamous in many ways.
Except it's just a bit more dark.
Yes, well, they're both pretty dark. I mean, like in that, like they're like new IP that's basically like copying the comic book style of like creating a hero. Like it has all the things.
I just realized this same company actually was responsible for the Hulk tie-in movie game for the first movie, which I would argue is better than the actual movie.
I don't know. I had that game.
Never played
it.
The
Ang Lee movie?
Yes.
Yes. So there's parts where you play as Bruce Banner and you hack stuff. It's not great.
But thankfully they do learn that's few and far in between, that you're just mainly Hulk the whole time. The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction is a much better game.
Yes.
The amount of things you can do in that game is insane.
You can turn a car into metal gloves.
Yeah, and then
What was that, Hunter?
He does it in the Incredible Hulk too, and I was like, "Oh, that's from the game."
Oh, I didn't realize he did.
Oh my god! I just realized I'm looking at the Wikipedia for it. Neil McDonough is the voice of Bruce Banner in that game.
Yeah,
interesting. Guy who's been in every comic book universe.
Apparently, he was the voice of Hulk in the animated series in the 90s.
Oh.
So apparently he's reprising his role. Yeah, I did not know this. This is
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, that Hulk 90s TV series. I'm that's kind of interesting, actually.
Huh. Real quick, though, Lou, something I wanted to add when you were saying about Infamous and Prototype being kind of the superhero origin story. True, but I don't know how many superhero origin stories let you do a backdrop with an innocent civilian off the top of the tallest building in the city. Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of built in this very tropey comic book style.
I get it, but I mean, Prototype was definitely kind of do whatever you want to. There's no morality.
Venom game ever made.
Yes. No, that's actually a very good point. Very good point.
All right,
who wants to go next with their top? I guess the other three they need to put on their Mount Rushmore.
It's up to, or I'll just say I at least have I'll say my first one here. Mm-hmm. The Punisher on the Xbox. It is so awesome. If you've never played it, I don't know how you would play it, because I don't think they've ever re-released it or done anything with it.
This is based off the 2004 movie, right?
No, it kind of yes and no.
I mean, Thomas Jane does do the voice of Frank in it.
And then
basically, the game is almost a sequel.
Kind of. The Russian is in it, but then it's super comic booky. Nick Fury's in it, Iron Man is in it.
Isn't Jigsaw the final boss?
Jigsaw is the main villain of the whole game.
Yeah.
Matt Murdock is your lawyer.
Yeah, Matt Murdock shows up at one point. It's great.
Of course it is.
You're detained in the Stark building, and Jigsaw gets a hold of an Iron Man prototype armor.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
That part's so rad.
That's the end of the game. But, there are parts... It's one of the few games that... So it was rated M, and they actually had to tone it down to get the M.
Except for the European version is uncensored.
Really?
Yes.
Is it now? I did not... I remember this game coming out. I just did not know there was a European...
So, because you could interrogate people, and you could kill them afterwards, and then those scenes had to get turned into black and white to get the M rating.
Or not even black and white. They would also have to weirdly fuzz some of it out or do a distortion on the screen.
It was you could capture them with buzzsaw.
Brutal.
The one I remember the most is you're at the Bronx Zoo or someone with a rhino.
Yep.
Oh wow!
You can turn the rhino into
There was one I remember that was you were in a garage or some sort of car shop, and you could use what was it? Some sort of
the acetylene torch.
No, there was. I thought it was something where you were dipping them into some sort of
the Chromers thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was so many because again that it was taken. There are lots of parts of it that are taken from the movie, but it kind of there's a whole mission where it's you and Nick Fury running through a jungle.
Yeah, basically they do a part from Punisher Max at one.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Huh. Which part of Punisher Max?
The one where he is when Nick Fury contacts him and he goes to go
to Russia.
Yeah.
Yes, because the villain of that level is the Russian.
Okay.
AKA Kevin Nash.
Yes. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It is.
I remember this game coming out because I was 11 when this game hit, and I never got to play it because my parents were like, "You can't play an M-rated game," so this is one I need to track down.
Yeah, it says I'm looking at the thing. It says they took a lot of stuff from War Journal, so it's very much more comic book.
Oh yeah, you played Bushwhacker at one point too.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
Yeah, I guess I'll go next. We'd already talked about Marvel Ultimate Alliance. That would be one of the ones I put up there. I'd have to just put up the first Batman game from Rocksteady. Like,
Arkham Asylum?
Asylum is like
Arkham Asylum is just it was a revelation. Like it just
broke the curse, and then City improved on everything.
Well, like Arkham Asylum, though, it introduced the fighting system that so many people aped for so long and still are to this day.
Assassin's Creed did for like 7 games.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Arkham Asylum came and did it better.
Yeah,
yeah. It once again, like, it shows how much love these people had who made it. Like
Batman.
Also, hearing Conroy and Hamill come back to those characters, just.
But I would say, like, as much as the Spider-Man game, like, it feels like you're playing a Spider-Man because you can get like killed pretty easily in Spider-Man. In the Arkham games, like, it feels like how Batman would fight.
Yes,
you feel like you're outclassing everybody. Like,
yeah.
Like,
That's if you're playing well. Yeah,
you can use the gear if you want, but you don't have to.
Exactly.
Like the whole every time I ever came across a group of bad guys, like, yeah, we're gonna mess you up, Batman. I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Or you could play the game super stealth, and not to mention all the detective stuff, which was really good. Which is
surprisingly,
especially as the games went on. Like there were so many little talking about a game that's full of Easter eggs. Like nothing touches the Arkham games when it comes to Easter eggs.
Especially that first one, because there's stuff everywhere.
All the little recordings and diaries and everything you would find, like a little patient
find Calendar Man's cell and off to leave husks everywhere.
Well, even the fact that they had a Maxi Zeus reference in there, which is just insane to me. Like, I know he had a couple episodes in the animated series, but that's still a pretty deep cut from the Batman
it's a pretty deep cut.
I do think that first game is in terms of all 4 really, if we're counting Origins, in terms of all of their Easter eggs, first had all the best ones. Those are the best ones to find.
Because it was so fresh. It was brand new, and nobody knew what to expect from it.
Is that the one where Killer Croc scares the shit out of you?
Yep.
Yeah,
that level's terrifying.
You're in the sewer, and he's destroying platforms around you as you're trying to get away.
That has happened in one of those games was Night with Man-Bat.
Yeah.
Where Man-Bat just shows up, and I was like, what the fuck? It was,
I remember that you're swinging to a building, and it's just he shows up on a rooftop.
Yeah, because there's sometimes at night where Joker shows up and he's screwing with you, and then one time it's just Man-Bat. And the design, that was the other thing in all of those games, their design is for every character is just so perfect.
None of them are things you've ever seen before either.
Well, they're tweaks. I love their Croc design. I love the idea, even if you connect Origins to it all. I love looking at the way they have characters kind of evolve.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I will say, Asylum aesthetically felt the closest to Burton meets the animated series of some kind.
Yeah. I can definitely see that.
I'm trying to remember, is it just the first 2, or is it the 3, not counting Origins, that are written by Dini?
The first 2.
Just the first 2? Yeah. So, you have Dini, you have, you have so many people from the animated
Conroy, of Hamill, yeah.
You have Arlene, I can't remember her for the life of me, your last name.
Arlene Sorkin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Arlene Sorkin, I thought.
Yeah.
I think Night and Origins, it's Tara Strong who takes over, and she's done most of it.
City.
Yeah, because I think Arlene Sorkin can't do the voice anymore.
Yeah, I think that is the case.
And Tara Strong is one of the best voice actors out there. She did Batgirl. She continues to do Batgirl. She's done
Batgirl. Tara Strong has done shit everywhere.
She's
bubbled, Power.
Tara Strong, folks, if you've heard of her.
Mm-hmm.
She did Raven in Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. And I think she does Raven in almost all of the games.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But each version is different. If you watch the animated movies, the DC Universe ones, it's a different sounding Raven than what you're used to.
Yeah.
I even think in Injustice they recorded all the stuff with her and then did that weird voice stuff, and people were pissed because it is technically Tara Strong. They just did shit to her voice, which pissed people off.
Well, that's dumb. They should have just let it be her voice. But yeah, Arkham Knight Arkham Asylum it was out of nowhere, and I still think it holds up. I don't think there's much they did wrong with that game. And the fact that they were thinking so far ahead that apparently, what was it, just within the past couple of years, people found that you could go into a secret area in the Warden's office, I think, and see, and it has direct references to what's going to happen in the second game.
Yep.
Oh, and City is so good too. Like I know it was on your list, John, but like City is the way they introduce like Raish and Talia in that game, and just the look of City. Like all those games just look so great.
The opening of that game, Bruce Wayne gets arrested and thrown into like Arkham City, and like it cuts back and forth between like Hugo Strange and Batman and the credits. That's still shit out of my head.
God. I forgot about all that.
Yeah, Strange. There's like the Hush thing that you can search for. That comes back at night, I believe.
We need another one.
Come back at night.
Well,
what's Rocksteady doing next? Because they keep saying
Creeper. Like the creepers in that game will not.
They reference him. Yeah.
No, I think in night he's the one reporting. No, like City.
Well,
they bring back Azrael in night.
Yeah, which they did a different version, but I still actually like that version, and they tease him in City. He's like around in City or something.
Yeah, you can find him.
You can run into him because there were a bunch of side missions in
Arkham City. Dedicated side mission thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Honestly, I want to see Rocksteady take on like a Superman game.
And that's not even counting like all of the side characters. Like the Robin and Nightwing designs are phenomenal, and Batgirl are phenomenal.
I'm not a fan of Robin with the shaved head.
Only because it's Tim, I kind of like it. Although I don't love the attitude. He's a little too Jason-y in his attitude.
Yeah, I think that might have been it.
But actually, before I move on, I was thinking just now with Arkham Asylum, with all the different play styles you have. You have the detective mode, you have the combat, and then you have like the Scarecrow levels.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes.
Which is so good.
I can't. Is it the first or the second one where you have the Mad Hatter one too?
That's the second one.
And then the third one, and then they kind of add in night is Professor Pig. With the Holotrons, which is another like deep cut, which I'm like, oh my God. And they don't hold back on that at all.
No.
They're pulling from all ages. Speaking of all ages, hey, I guess it's your turn, Hunter.
So I'm gonna take Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 off mine because
because you're a smart man.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, I was like, there's so many other better games. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1, I've beaten that game 10 times maybe.
It's because it's a good game and you should keep playing it.
Yeah, you're right. I should keep playing it. I'm going to put the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game because I've logged so many hours in that.
So good.
That game is amazing.
Arkham Asylum, definitely. And I guess I can't think of because there's really great comic book games, but I can't think of any outside of superhero games that I've actually enjoyed. It's not. Oh, I do have one that I enjoy that I don't know if other people will enjoy. The Captain America tie-in game for First Avenger that came out.
Oh,
I heard that was quite good.
If you ever play it, if you ever get a chance to play it, do it because that game is awesome.
Based off the First Avenger?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember playing it at
the whole idea is you're Captain America storming a Hydra base and you fight. It's just Arkham Asylum with Captain America, and it's really good.
I'm looking at right here, Captain America Super Soldier.
I remember playing that at the first New York Comic Con that they brought it there.
Yeah. Oh wow!
Yes,
that game came out with a Thor tie-in, and that game's dog trash.
The Game Boy Advance, I think it was, or the DS Thor game is actually supposed to be quite good. Way Forward.
Way Forward, yes.
Oh,
yeah, that's pretty good.
I've seen some gameplay of that Thor game. It looks bad.
Yeah, the Sega one is supposed to be atrocious, just like the Iron Man games were too. Yeah,
I can't believe they made 2 of those. What the fuck?
We can talk about bad video games after this, after we finish up. So I'm trying to think. John, did you say 4?
Yeah, he did.
Yep. Yeah, I said my 4.
Yeah, you and I are the only ones that are slow pokes.
So I'm mostly doing deep cuts in old school. So my next one is actually Maximum Carnage.
Oh yeah,
that game. Yep.
One of my first games on the Sega Genesis with the red cartridge.
And that was for real.
And oh man, that was just it was so good. I love they basically cut in comic book scenes. It was early motion comics in a video game, and then you got to play as Venom, and it was hard. It's a hard game, and there's deep cuts in there. There's Shriek and the Demogoblin.
Fireside's in that game.
Yeah, I think there's Is it one of the? Is Beetle in it? Like I'm trying to remember. There's like so many, and then you can call in people like Cloak and Dagger, Captain America.
Isn't fucking Iron Fist in that game?
Yes, he's one of the people you can call in.
Yeah, he's an assist. Yeah. See, I never beat Maximum Carnage. I did beat Separation Anxiety.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I enjoyed that more, but I think it was also a little bit easier, and that's probably why I enjoyed it, because I could not get past a certain point in Maximum Carnage.
I feel like Maximum Carnage is like known as like one of the hardest games.
It's very difficult. Like,
yeah, it's not easy.
And this is where you can save your game and shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was just thinking, Maximum Carnage has a red cart, so does Street Fighter 2, so technically they're on the same level.
So did that N64 Spider-Man that the guys did Tony Hawk developed.
Oh, yeah, and that's why Spider-Man showed up in the Tony Hawk game.
Yep.
I remember. I was actually going to put that as a joke one for mine, but I didn't want to do it because I forgot about it.
I think they put Iron Man in another one later on, too.
They put Wolverine in one.
They put Mace Windu in one, too. Or not Mace Windu. They put no, not Windu. Shit.
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul, thank you. Yeah. The guy who Darth Maul killed. Yeah. Yeah, it's Separation Anxiety. Yeah, that was the one thing I remember the most about Maximum Carnage, though, was like, because I played it on Super Nintendo, was just like the cutscenes were ridiculous at the time.
Yeah,
because they looked pretty much, at least to my whatever age eyes,
doing cutscenes like that back in those times either.
Yeah, and
like Ninja Gaiden had them. A couple other games, but like no one was doing crazy intense shit like that.
Well, especially American designers, like absolutely. Japanese games typically had like decent cutscenes like that, but yeah, you didn't see that much, especially not Acclaim.
Yeah, definitely not Acclaim.
Yeah. But yeah, for my last two, like I've got one, but I want to save it for the end, so I'm not really sure what my third one would be at this point. Like,
if you can go, I have a third one if you want to wait.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you'd named your fourth one. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So my third one is another Genesis classic, which is
64.
The X-Men Genesis game.
Oh,
the side-scrolling one.
Which one? Because there were two of them.
I have a complete in-box copy of that.
It's the one where you can play as like Wolverine, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, and Gambit. I think it's the first one.
Yeah, I had that one. Yep. Yeah.
The second one is Clone Wars, which I don't think I ever played. I'm looking online. They did a Spider-Man one too, like X-Men.
Yeah, that game is dog shit.
Yeah, is that Arcade's Revenge or whatever it is?
Yeah, I'm talking about the first one because this came out like right when the cartoon came out, so I was just, like all the hype.
Yep. Yeah, and that game was hard as balls.
Yes, I don't know why. Young me was really in love with fucking impossible games that you could not save.
Well, if I remember correctly, with that X-Men game, like I think it was either in the Mojoverse or
part of it's in the Mojoverse. I think
like there's a point in that game where you have to hit the reset button on your console. I never got to it. I only read about this later, but yeah, they didn't spell it out to you. Like
that's Star Tropic shit right there.
It's evil because that goes against all nature to like hit reset while you're playing a game, because you're like, no, I'm going to lose all this progress and I don't have passwords. I don't have a hard save on here.
Like in those days, if that went wrong, you lost. That would just piss people off.
Oh, that would be enough for me to just never play the game again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. How far did you ever get in that, Lou? Did you ever beat it? Or
I don't think I ever beat it. I definitely got like pretty far though.
Yeah.
It's in those like handful of games. Like I can't remember which Sonic game, but there's like one Sonic game that I could never beat. I think it was like, is it 3? I don't know, some clown level or like something like that. Maybe it was just my game that always had like a glitch on it.
Yeah, the only Sonic game I ever beat was part 2. After that, I was like, I don't need to beat any other Sonic games.
I've experienced all that's here.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to cheap out on the third one for me, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, because I've always had a soft spot for beat 'em up games, and especially from that era.
Dinosaurs for Hire?
No, not Dinosaurs for Hire. No, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. It's based on Zeozoic Tales. It's a comic book, an indie comic. I forget from who, but it's what it sounds like. That's
a great concept for a comic book. It's Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Well, it's the whole idea is like I think people from like the mid to late 50s or like it's a time period in the future, quote unquote, where like the 50s aesthetic is still going on, and they're either creating dinosaurs. I don't know. I never really paid that much attention to the comic, but the game is just classic Capcom beat 'em up. But you're also fighting dinosaurs.
Captain Commando. Does Captain Commando count?
No, that's a Capcom creation. I never made a comic of it. But the fourth one is another Capcom beat 'em up. It's Alien vs Predator.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
That game, like the comic, was really good, and the game is nothing like it. But that game is so goddamn. Oh god, it's so good. Like I don't know how many of you have gone back to get to play it at all.
It's very hard to track down a working copy of that game. You usually have to emulate it.
You can spend what $250 on that atrocious Capcom stick
not happening.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are aware of this.
It's a stick, like a fighting arcade stick. Like I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but it just says it's just the word Capcom.
It's the Capcom logo.
It's amazing,
and it has two fighting fighting competition grade fighting sticks on it, and that's the system.
I'm excited for someone someday to open that up and turn it into an actual like fighting game stick.
God,
but they sell a ton of those. As someone that used to work for a company that sold video games.
Oh, I understand like a singular one, but this is two of them on a giant Capcom logo.
So you need to have like a stupid purchase.
So you need to have like a giant coffee table and a comfortable height for two people to sit side by side.
You also need to have like a 10-foot HDMI cable.
I kind of really want one, but I don't want to spend the money.
No, I don't want to spend $250 for 16 games. If one just
like fell off a truck, I would pick it up.
But yeah, with Alien vs Predator, like I have a Raspberry Pi, and I said I didn't want to, or I said to myself, because no one else in my house would care about me saying this, I basically didn't want to spend the time to actually go through and find a working ROM, so I just bought a mini SD card that had a front end.
But you only are playing cartridges you own, right? You wouldn't want to break the law.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Exactly. I am not endorsing piracy. But yeah, the game is so good, and it does everything right. It's like the culmination of everything Capcom learned with their beat 'em ups next to Tower of Doom and Shadow over Mystara, which that's another deep cut that I'm not sure if any of you have ever played.
Yeah, I just remember like seeing like that game was just like the game to have. For some reason, I feel like has there been like a really bad Alien game?
There was a bad Predator game for Super Nintendo. There was a really good Jaguar Alien vs Predator game.
I think that's the one game that like the Alien vs Predator one I remember is on the Jaguar.
Have you ever played the one that came out on last gen? Or
that was supposed to be like a spiritual sequel to the Jaguar one.
That game kind of rules.
Yeah, that's the one where you can play as the Marine, the Alien, or the Predator, right?
The first Marine level is like really like kind of good, and then it.
The one on 360, right?
Yeah. The first Marine level is like a cool like psychological, not psychological, but like kind of slow horror thing, and then the rest of the Marine campaign is just like action wreck.
Yeah.
And I just thought about it. I rescind Cadillacs and Dinosaurs because that was just a cheap answer. The Wolverine game for the 360 and PS3.
Is that the game that followed
the only good thing that came out of X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That game was amazing and bloody and so good, and it was everything you wanted.
Yeah, that would go under my honorable mentions next to the Deadpool game, mainly Deadpool for the comedy and the Nolan North's amazing performance throughout that whole game.
The only other game that I was going to add in is like basically every Lego superhero game.
Yeah.
Because they're just like chock full of nerdy awesomeness.
Lego Marvel 2 is awesome. I don't know if any of you
played. I've played all of the Lego Marvel games. I played all the Lego Batman ones. I have the Lego Villains on my PS4, and I haven't played it yet. But
that game's pretty good. I
I love them all. Like the last Lego Marvel one with Kang was like super good.
Lego Marvel
Yes.
2. It's
Yes.
so good.
It has Hell Cow.
Yes, I collected. I think that was the second game I like 100%. I got every single collectible in that game.
Oh wow, nice. Yeah, no, I have it. I got it for Christmas a couple years ago from my one son, and yeah, that game, that's so much fun. Although I think I actually enjoyed the first one more.
Yeah, but again, it's like one of those things. Was like the Marvel and DC ones. It's just like, oh, here, be a nerd, play as everybody you can think of.
Exactly. Then go.
You want to play as Catwolf? Go ahead, play as Catwolf.
I think the third Lego Batman had like the CW stuff on it.
Oh, really?
It had like Steve Bannon doing the voice for like Arrow, and it had.
Oh, I remember that pack. Yeah.
Huh.
You got to go to PNU.
Jeez.
Yeah. So like which again, I say honorable mentions the 2 Injustice games.
Yeah. I mean, for me, an honorable mention would be
just because of
Connor's gonna like burst into the podcast any second.
If we say the dreaded game's name one more time, he'll come in here and tell us the buckle's on fire or something.
It's like Beetlejuice, Injustice, and then bam.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, there's also like a ton of Spider-Man. For some reason, Spider-Man's had like almost only good games.
I think it's. No, most of the PS1. Well, the first PS1 one was great. I don't know about any of the other ones after that.
And then Spider-Man 2 for the GameCube. Hold on now.
Yeah, see, the only ones that are bad I can think of is like I didn't really like Shattered Dimensions.
I love Shattered Dimensions.
Shattered Dimensions was a blast. That was not great, but it's so much fun.
What was the other one with all the Venomy stuff?
Web of Shadows. That one.
That's the one I don't like. Yeah, that one was.
That game runs like shit.
Yes, it does.
Any of the Amazing Spider-Man tie-in games are just bad.
Oh yeah, I didn't even check those out, which is weird because the Raimi Spider-Man tie-in games are all pretty good.
I haven't played 3 or 1. I played 2 the most.
3 is just 2 over again. So I guess it's a good game, kind of, but like, I wish
Ultimate Spider-Man, which had that comic booky, incredible Hulk feel.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a game that was great.
Where Venom fights at one point.
Yeah, I'm actually looking. So the Ultimate Spider-Man was written by Brian Michael Bendis.
Yep.
Like, the story of that game.
BMB.
Also, I never played Edge of Time. Any of you guys play?
Yeah, it sucks. Don't play it.
All right, there goes that question then.
I hate that game.
I feel like Edge of Time and Shattered Dimensions in like the same video game universe.
Well,
I think they are. Aren't they both made by Beanox?
Yes.
Beanox had the license from Shattered Dimensions up until Amazing Spider-Man 2, then Insomniac, thank God.
Pretty sure Beanox is dead now, so good riddance.
Oh, vey.
Because I think Marvel, as a video game company, was like, yeah, we're kind of tired of this shit. Can we make like better games, please?
Well, there's a period of time, like, now is like, I think we're really on the cusp of like a Marvel renaissance when it comes to video games.
Yeah.
Because like when Disney acquired Marvel, Bob Iger did not give a less of a fuck about video games.
Well, it's the whole thing. It's like if you look at the 2 companies, the only games that have really done well are the Spider-Man games. No one else has really got that one hope.
Never really cared enough about the other characters. That's the
problem. Then DC, it's pretty much just Batman.
Yeah, it's Batman and like occasionally a bad Superman game will come out.
I can't remember the last Superman game.
Superman Returns, I think, might have been the last.
I own most of them for some reason.
Yeah, Superman Returns, you fight a tornado at the end.
Yeah, the Earth has a health bar in that game.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's right. And then Marvel has a Iron Man VR game coming out.
That looks so cool.
That does look cool. I'd play that. I would get VR just to play that game.
Yeah, like, that's the kind of shit I like.
Yeah, I mostly don't include the movie tie-in games because basically any movie has a tie-in game. So like those Iron Man ones I don't include, as well as like the Green Lantern one. I do not include.
There was a Green
Lantern. Any of the other.
Yeah, it's like it's a beat 'em up game where you team up with Sinestro and fight the Manhunters.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys played any of the Telltale comic book games like Batman or Guardians?
I played the first Batman one. I enjoyed it.
The second season of Batman is like so awesome.
Really?
I heard that was good.
Yes.
I heard Guardians was quite good as well.
Guardians is great too.
Yeah.
There's a great twist in the beginning of Guardians that kind of made me drop my jaw.
Huh. I feel like maybe we're trying to stay on nice video games for as long as we can.
Yeah, I think
it's to talk about the
majority of video games.
The chained leper we keep in our attic. The bad video games.
The chained leper who keeps banging up and be like, "Can I have some food?"
No. Stay up there. No one likes you.
Exactly. That's why no one touches you anymore.
Christ.
Yeah. Oh,
there's just so many bad comic book video games.
God, where do we start?
I won't even include any of the movie ones because that's
that's too easy.
Thing. Yeah,
that's ducks in a fucking.
I mentioned that Thor game, but that Thor game is exceptionally bad because it's just God of War, but somehow it's like
worse.
Yeah, I like God of War. I think God of War is great. First 3 games and that last one that came out was awesome.
Yeah,
for some reason,
documentary on it.
Yeah, for some reason, the Thor game is just shit. I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was a couple, for some reason, Xbox went on the first system had a bunch of weird, other comic book games because there was the Wanted video game, which was based off of the Wanted movie as a sequel.
Yep.
And there was, I can't remember. They did 2 of them. What is it? Darkness, which is Mad Cow.
Yeah, The Darkness.
Which is supposed to be good. Those games are supposed to be pretty good.
The first one was pretty great. Yeah, I mean, Mike Patton does the voice of the Darkness in it.
Darkness 2 is actually very good. I put a lot of hours in those games. No, there was a period of time where there was Hellboy games coming out on 360.
No, I was so excited to play that game, and I played some of it, and I was devastated as to not.
It's not
like Erik said, there's 10 Spawn games and they're all trash.
Yeah.
There's one on Dreamcast that's actually playable. But
which one is this?
It's an arcade scooter shooter type game.
Oh, okay. That was the one that came out on Dreamcast, didn't it?
Yeah, it's Spawn.
I remember there's Eternal. Eternal was a PS1 game.
That game sucks.
Yes. That's where you can jump through different portals and then you can play as different spawns from different eras.
Yes. And then there's weird fighting game mechanics.
Yeah, isn't that where you can rip off people's limbs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one or Armageddon where you fight angels.
Armageddon's where you fight angels, I think.
Okay, because I know I beat that one.
I know Vindicator's in Eternal. I know that.
I will say, while we all love the Batman Arkham games, there was a period, a very dark period, where there was just shit after shit after shit after shit.
What's the matter? You don't like the Rise of Shinzu?
Oh God, I was going to say that.
Or Return of the Joker tie-in.
Or Dark Tomorrow, which has the best story, but is an awful game.
Or Vengeance. Vengeance pissed me off.
I don't want to think about Vengeance.
I don't even know about Batman Vengeance.
Yeah.
I knew about the other ones you mentioned, but not that one.
Oh.
Well, Return of the Joker, was that the shooter?
No, that was a side-scrolling.
Okay. Because there was one that was kind of a shooter, if I remember correctly.
There's a Batman Beyond game on N64 that makes me want to tear my eyes out every time I think
There was a Batman Forever game. There's a lot.
They tried really hard.
Oh my God! I just looked because I googled. Do you remember Marvel Nemesis?
Yes.
Of the Imperfect?
Okay.
Yes.
That game. People can
I
shoot out all they like.
God, it's box art.
But I don't know, young edgelord hunter at 14 years old, which is super into that game.
Your scene hair and everything down below.
Yeah. He was talking about Johnny Ohm and
Oh God, you actually know their names.
And Brigade? Is it Brigade who was the fucking Frankenstein one?
Maybe.
I don't know. I didn't touch this game.
I played that game very briefly.
If I ever work at Marvel, I'm bringing back the Nemesis.
No, you're not.
I am doing it. You can't stop me.
You will be fired shortly thereafter.
Here's what will happen. I'll walk in, and then Fahey will be like, okay, so do you have any pictures? Yes. Have you ever heard of The Imperfect?
Get out.
No, and turn in your badge.
Yeah.
Get out.
Exactly.
The other game I just remembered was, I think it was called X-Men Legacy.
Oh,
It was a 360 game where you couldn't play as any of the X-Men. You played as
Destiny. I was
Destiny.
Oh, wasn't that the one that brought down what's their face? The guys who made not Perfect Dark, who made that Nintendo 64 game horror one.
Yeah, Silicon
Knights.
Yes, that and pedophile charges.
Oh, I didn't know he got charged.
Wait. I'm sorry.
So they had a Kickstarter fairly recently, and one of the head like lead designers had child porn on his computers, and he got arrested.
Oh no!
Yeah, that company is fucked, dude. I'm glad it's gone.
Yeah, fuck that company.
Man,
no.
I hope he sells off all the video game rights then, because I would like to see an Eternal Darkness 2 that would actually.
Well, that's what they were trying to kickstart and like make into a game.
Well, that was a while ago then.
Yeah,
they have. I'm looking at their game list. The game they did before X-Men Destiny is a game that like I wish they could die for, which is Too Human, which was like talked about for years.
Yep,
it's supposed to be like 3 or 4 games.
People were like so excited for Too Human, and then it came out and like
dog shit.
I remember seeing that game. I had no idea about Silicon Knights.
One more time.
Too Human was the name of the game.
Yeah,
you play as Balder, right?
I saw that game on store shelves for like $5 every day, and then later I found out like it was the biggest thing ever.
Yeah, it was basically talked about. It was like going to be, I it's a shooter / like you have like dudes. I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah, like you didn't really use. It was like kind of like a beat 'em up, but you didn't really use buttons. You just used the directional stick.
Yeah, this sounds awful.
You had guns and melee weapons, but the whole thing tying into this is like it's all Norse mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
interesting. Except the game was garbage.
Yeah,
it was like 3 games because you play not as Thor. Thor is in it. You play as Balder.
Yep.
And I think you had died and you came back. Like it does this cool like techno thing that kind of the movies did with Thor. But like
everyone's favorite Thor character, Balder.
Well, no, I did like I remember I got that game like when it was like $15 and like the design was cool, but yeah, it was everything else that like Dennis Dyack had promised.
Yeah, the story was interesting. It's just like it played like shit.
Mm-hmm. And that was the big thing too. I remember with that was this was back when One Up Yours, the EGM podcast, was going on. Like Dennis Dyack was on, and he was freaking out on one of the editors who had written poorly about it in a preview, and he was like, "Oh, dude, this is what's wrong with the press and blah 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 blah," just freaking out. And it's just like, well, dude, maybe your game is dog shit. Did you ever think about that?
Later, his office is getting raided by the FBI.
Exactly.
Hey, speaking of things that would make anyone get arrested, how about the people behind that Superman game on the N64? Because I found that game.
Titus, yeah.
Hideous, I don't know.
Dog shit. Yeah.
Have you ever played the multiplayer in that game?
What?
Wait, there's multiplayer?
Yeah. So basically, okay. So.
No, I refuse to believe this.
Well, okay, what would you imagine Superman 64 multiplayer looking? What would you? If you had to guess, what is it?
Superman's?
Who can actually fly through rings? The first one to hit a ring wins.
No. Okay, so it's a shooter, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah. No, there's more, and everybody is in like little like carts that fly around the levels. Yeah.
Were they just making a different game at the time?
I don't know. I do not know.
Like, that sounds more ridiculous than the Superman arcade game, which you guys should look up, which was...
Superman can fly. Why is he in a cart?
What you brought up, like, it reminds me of, like, have you ever seen videos of the Flash game that they were making?
Yeah.
They were, or I thought Rocksteady was making?
Yeah, no, not that. Like, I mean, like, they, as in the...
that just was being made.
Yeah, it was like GTA, but with Flash. Like, it was really interesting looking.
Oh, I would have totally played that.
Well, that was something I'd read, like, I think in an interview with people who were working on it. They're saying, like, they just couldn't get the feeling of speed down properly.
Yeah, the idea was that everything else in the world would slow down, and you would still be going the same speed, was the best they could come up with.
Yeah, it's
The Incredibles tried doing something like this in their tie-in game. It just was like you're running fast, but you're not moving that quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
don't
feel like
know.
that's like that sort of thing is like held back by that technology at the time, because I feel like that would be way easier now.
Did you hear what? So Superman had really bad draw distance in the game, so the developers, instead of owning up to it, called it, "Oh, it's kryptonite fog," and then effort by Lex Luthor to diminish Superman's abilities when it's really just distance fog because we can't draw for shit.
Oh, they did something like that in one of the Spider-Man games, where like it was only in the air because they couldn't render the ground.
That was the PS1 one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You see the Baxter building in the background. I remember that.
Yeah. And John, it's not to diminish your chosen terrible game, but like I didn't have a Nintendo 64, and the time I did get to play that, it was like 5 minutes. I'm like, why did you even introduce this to me? I said to my friend, and that was about the end of my extent with time with that.
I do it would be bad. I just want to see it. Like, it can't be that bad. Nope.
I just imagine, Eric, you'd never speak to that guy ever again.
Well, no, because he had a Nintendo 64 and I didn't, so I needed to keep that hookup.
Yeah, you need that. He's good to you emotionally, but like,
I need that. Oh yeah,
you have those friends, like the guy that owns a Jaguar and every other system.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll put up with your weird shit. Oh, you're a little bit racist. I don't know.
I can still play Turok.
It's actually the same house where, like, I can't remember what we were. I think we were playing GoldenEye or something on the N64, and it can't be N64. Oh, no, it might have been, because we were definitely in elementary school, and his dog just like had a puppy next to me. Like, I'm just sitting there, and I hear a noise, and I look to my left as I'm playing GoldenEye, and I'm like, I was like, Nick, which is like my friend's dad's name. I was like, I think your dog pooped a puppy. He's like,
your dog pooped a puppy.
Get this stupid wet dog away from me.
Like a puppy, but they're like born in the sack.
Yeah.
So he had to like rub the sack off and then like poop. They had like a pen because they bred labs. So like they had to like, oh crap, we got to like move her in her little pen. And I was like, okay, that was weird.
Yeah, just as a side note, normally the mom would lick that off, I would imagine. So yeah, that's
I think it was the first one. So like she had it, and then it was like, oh, there's a room full of like 10-year-olds. Like I should
gotta teach them young.
She was ashamed of herself. Yeah, for me, like probably the worst superhero video games, and I mean I have to go back to like Nintendo and Super Nintendo was definitely the arcade or X-Men and Spider-Man Arcade's Revenge. That game is terrible. Like you get 8 different choices of terrible levels with that game.
I played the game for the first time recently, and
I'm so sorry.
I hated it.
Sorry. But the biggest loser is
Oh, yep, LJN. That's what a shock. LJN.
Well, that's the other thing. The other terrible game is the X-Men for Nintendo for the NES, and that's also an LGN game. And that look up just screenshots of that game and look up a screenshot of it and tell me what characters you see on screen, and I mean gameplay, because you can't tell who anybody is.
It looks like kind of like it looks like they're going for like a Zelda thing, but man,
did you ever play the Silver Surfer game?
No, but the music is supposed to be good.
That's the only good thing that thing has. The rest of it's bad. Like I don't think I've seen gameplay. You can't beat it like ever.
Really?
Yes.
Well, it's actually I've seen gameplay where like the bosses never look like who you're supposed to be fighting. If I remember correctly, like there's one point where you fight Mr. Sinister and it's this weird like greenish alien thing. Why is Silver Surfer fighting Mr. Sinister?
That's dumb.
Yeah.
No. Also, did anyone here play the Watchmen game?
No.
Nope.
I forgot that there was one until just now. I blacked that out.
Yeah, I have played it. It's all right. Like it's like a beat 'em up type thing. Like it's.
Sorry, Eric. I know you're going on yours.
No. I'm done. That's all I needed to say. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because it fills in gaps. But
is it based off the movie or the comic?
The comic.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was supposed to be based off the
movie.
movie.
No, you're right. It is the movie. But like it's before the movie.
Okay, yeah, because it's back when Rorschach and Night Owl were working together.
Yeah. It's okay. Like I don't hate it. It's just like I feel like it could have been better.
Didn't it come out in 2 parts?
Yes.
And weren't they each like $60?
Yeah.
So they did the Sonic 3 Sonic Knuckles thing?
I kind of, except you didn't have interlock technology.
Yeah, that game, I don't know. It's all right, I guess. It's not worth $60, that's for sure.
Well, isn't it just a bog standard beat 'em up?
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of the Final Fight Streetwise. Like it's kind of like weirdly.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Come on! We've got lots of.
Streetwise made me sad.
Lou, go ahead, Jen.
I'm thinking more. I'm not realizing it's not superhero. It's just more comic book based. But I'm just realizing there's a bunch of Smurfs games in my research I'm looking at. I'm like, but why though?
Yeah, the only one I remember was for Comico.
Dinosaurs for Hire game.
keep going on about that. Just keep going on.
It's Revenge of the Smurfs, and I'm like, does that mean Smurfs go after people Sicario style and just like?
Yes.
There's a T-Rex who's dressed like the Terminator.
Lou, did you have a worst video game you wanted to mention?
The only thing I could think of is like, and I don't know if it like super counts. So I said a couple of them that like were pretty terrible. I don't know if any of the Dragon Ball Z games count in there because they're
sure, it's manga.
There are a ton of them that are just dog shit.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't really get it right until like later in Super Nintendo, and then not for a while after that.
Yeah.
And they all I do love that they're fighting games, and it makes the most sense. There are some amazing most of the games that are Dragon Ball are very good, but there are some like
good Game Boy Advance game.
Yes.
Those are good ones. The Legacy of Goku ones or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the Game Boy Advance ones. Like they're the only ones I actually had any experience with in that weird lull.
There's a lot of the PS2, Xbox era games that are really bad.
You ever play Sagas?
Yeah, unfortunately.
But like, there's some that are like the fighting games that are just terrible, but they were the only ones that like you could get. So like on the PlayStation, there were a bunch that had bootlegs. So there's like, have you guys ever played Final Bout?
Is that the one that had
the GT one?
That's the GT one, yeah. Where the final end boss is like giant ape baby.
Yes, I did play that one. Yeah, I remember I rented that from my local video store.
It's a pile of shit, and we should never exist in that thing.
Yeah, because like I think there's like 3. Only one of them that was like big in Japan really came over, and that was Ultimate Battle 22 came over, which is like this weird sprite like 3-on-3 game. But the only thing that's good about it is it has like every goddamn character you can think of, like including movie characters. But most of them are so terrible. Only until like really recently did they kind of like get good again. It was like a weird era where they were like good and then they were really bad, and then there was like 2 or 3 games that were really good. Like the first couple of Budokai games were really good, and then they were terrible.
The first Budokai game I remember I really enjoyed. Like I was playing that.
I too, but I think I hated it because of the whole board game idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I really like Tenkaichi. I know people hate it, but like those games when I was a kid were like to have friends over and you just play Tenkaichi for like a couple hours.
I just tried Fighters for the first time today. Oh my god, that game's fantastic.
Oh, it's Street Fighter, but it's better Street Fighter.
Yeah, the animation is unbelievable.
Yeah, art works. Those guys do great work.
Wait, I just found the worst one. Dragon Ball Z for Kinect.
Oh, yes. There was a bunch of terrible Kinect games. Because there was an Avengers Kinect game.
There was.
Yes.
I thought about that. Holy shit.
Yeah, the Kinect, the thing that everyone forgot existed.
Yeah, it's used now for? What do they use it for now? Hunting ghosts.
Oh, yes, because it has the heat sensor thing.
Yeah.
Well, there was, in the Kinect's defense, there was a while there when it had gotten better on 360, I think, like, that they were actually using it in surgery centers. Like there was something about it that they were using that was actually really helpful with either surgeries or the way they were planning out surgeries.
Yeah, the original Kinect is the same technology that the PS4 camera had.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, like so the Kinect on the Xbox One is like a really good camera. It's just it was abandoned because like it just didn't.
They didn't support it.
They didn't support it, and no one could really figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
That Avengers Connect game is made by Ubisoft, by the way.
Oh, hey,
one of my favorite. It's not a comic book game, but one of my favorite things. And my wife's cousin worked on it. I think it was kind of the end of Majesco, even though they know they still exist. But her two cousins worked there.
Barely.
They
exist.
They made a Connect game, like an NBA Connect game, that you had to use an actual basketball with.
Oh God, I remember hearing about
That's
this.
kind of interesting though, because like the Connect never really. It was always just making you feel really awkward in front of your friends. That was the whole thing about Connect.
Well, the idea was like Guitar Hero, but with your dribbling. Except if you have carpet where your TV is, or if you live in an apartment, the people below you will be really pissed.
There was a period of time where Connect could not like pick up people with darker skin. Let's say.
Yep.
Oh, oof.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Fun
So,
time.
do we want to move on to the final little segment, being that we're coming up on an hour and a half of what we'd like to see game-wise? Just, dream-wise, what you think would be a great game.
Just give me more Avengers news. That's all I care about.
I want the Punisher to come back. Where's the Punisher games?
It's I would say of Marvel, like so we got
I
Spider-Man.
want an Iron Fist game.
Yes. I want a Daredevil game. Like, where is my Daredevil, like my Arkham Asylum, Arkham City version?
Daredevil makes the most sense right now to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to joke and I'm going to say, oh, I want Moon Knight, and I know that's never going to happen. But, man, where's my Daredevil game?
He can be an unlockable character or skin in the Daredevil game.
He can be a character in a game. Like, it's not...
He was in the Spider-Man Web of Shadows game.
Yeah, he's in Ultimate Alliance, too.
Yes.
Yeah, so saying a Daredevil game, like, what type of game would you want it to be?
Oh, just make Arkham Asylum again.
Just like Arkham.
There you go.
And here's the thing. I don't think comic book video games have to be new and exciting. Like, you can easily copy something and, like, put the Avengers in it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it can be interesting. Like, no one is coming... I don't think anyone who's super into comic books is coming to these games for, like, game-changing breakthrough gameplay. They want the characters. Like, that's what they want.
That's exactly. I actually say of the two big companies, I think DC will have a harder time because the way that their biggest characters work, like we talked about the Flash, like a lot of their characters are like too, and I'm a DC fan. Yeah, they're too powerful and they're too abstract to make work.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the DC version of Ultimate Alliance didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what that was.
Yeah, there was a DC game that was essentially the same as Ultimate Alliance. It
had like Justice League something.
Yeah, I don't want to say Task Force because I think that was the fighting game for Super Nintendo.
I did beat that game.
I want to see a genuine, honest to God, like DC game. Maybe not like so much Batman. I just want to see them try to adapt one of their other characters and do it like right.
Yeah, but the problem is some of their biggest like marquee characters are very like. How do you play a Superman game on Earth
without making him OP?
I think they could easily do like a Green Arrow game or something like that.
Yes, yeah, you'd have to do Green Arrow or like a Black Canary or a Nightwing.
Or like a Nightwing game would be pretty cool.
Or Deathstroke. Or,
see, that's the thing. I kind of want, if DC is going to come out with like this is our next big game, I want them to step away from Superman. Like, I don't know who not Superman, Batman. Like,
yeah, that's the problem.
I don't want another Batman game. I mean, I do, but if they're going to come out,
maybe a Green Lantern game, maybe
a Green Lantern, if done well, could be really cool.
Yeah,
do a Green Lantern game with an action RPG-esque feeling to it, except what you choose to do. Like, if you choose to be more of a fighter, then your ring constructs will be more.
It should be a game where you could create your own character.
I was definitely just bringing it up. Like, one of my biggest dream games is like they put you in like a Marvel universe or a DC universe, and like you're just a hero starting out. Like,
which for Green Lantern works perfectly.
Yeah.
But I mean, the idea like I was going to go with is like do it kind of like a Fables, except with Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Like just have it that like if you're going to be more of a magic based character, then you're going to have more like an energy looking like projections, and if you're going to be more, I don't know, if you're going to be more a fighter, like I said, like it would be more like weapon looking projections.
Yeah, like using gadgets and stuff like that.
Yeah, like how who is it? Not Hal. It was the John Stewart. His
the architect.
Yeah, exactly. And like how his like a lot of times he makes like a sniper rifle because he's still a military man, like very much a military man. Yeah, and how like Kyle Rayner would make like very manga looking stuff and like anime. He's a cartoonist. Yeah, like having it like do that, or even just if you're choosing your character, you have to choose a background, so that will dictate what your constructs will look like.
Well, that's what like I think of the two. Like when it was good, which was the DC Online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which was both a good and a bad game. Like at times when it was good, when it first started off, like there were things like that were very interesting, where you got to pick a mentor of the Trinity and your power set and your mentor and all that stuff like worked with you. I think that would work great.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if you grinded long enough, you could get armor that looked like your mentor's armor.
Yeah, like I don't know. I've always wanted like a Marvel version of that game, but like DC would work very well for that. I think, but I think the one like thing that I keep coming back to for like a dream game is definitely an Avengers game, especially right now.
Yeah.
Especially, I just want to know whatever, again, we've mentioned this before, whatever this Crystal Dynamics Square Enix game is going to be. Is it going to be like an open world action game like the Tomb Raider series? Is it going to be...
I don't want online. I don't want online.
I think if they do anything, that online better be optional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be optional, or else a lot of people are going to be pissed.
Well, that was the thing I thought I had read was like, within the past year or so, there had been some sort of article talking about how they had hired on a whole bunch of people who have worked on single player games, like kind of last minute. So it's just like, oh, that's not a good thing.
No,
like I think the biggest problem that a lot of superhero games potentially have, like especially with DC Universe Online, is make a good single player game first and then expand into multiplayer.
Your base game should inform the multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Call of Duty multiplayer is so popular. They worked on shooting and all that first, and then they were like, yeah, we can throw a multiplayer on this.
That's what's funny about the big two. It's that DC's biggest game in the last several years, like 4 or 5 years, is their fighting game that they gave to NetherRealm. And then Marvel's biggest game is the game that they're the least involved with because it's a Sony-made game. Like,
Sony, hilarious, like and ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like dream game at this point would definitely be Avengers related, but I would want to do something that's like a role playing game and like
maybe a big RPG would be great.
I want another really good Captain America.
That would be great. But like an Avengers RPG, like that works so perfectly because you can do the typical storyline where you're introducing new characters at various points, and it would be like, oh shit, I just got Hawkeye, or oh shit, this is Doctor Strange in this now, and you would have enough room to be able to have like obscure pulls like Moon Knight and Iron Fist and things like that.
Squirrel Girl nowadays, or something like along those lines.
No, never Squirrel Girl.
She's too OP.
Exactly.
Do you know what another game that would be amazing, which they have the rights back to, and it'd be completely out of left field, but a Blade game?
Yes.
It's like a vampire, like a really dark horror game.
Yes.
That would be amazing. I mean, I know I literally was in my research, they have 2 Blade games based on the movies, but I would like an original, honest to God.
Like, I wouldn't even care if they got, like, Wesley Snipes to do the voice. It's, like, more like, just make, like...
I think Marvel horror has a place anywhere. Like they don't really touch on it. Like I think video games would be an interesting place to do it.
Yeah, but again, like it reminded me because like of what we're talking about the RPG, but like you could make a straight like first-person horror game with Blade, or another character, or even a Resident Evil style game with Blade.
That would be great. I think you hit the nail on the head there.
Like that and like action adventure where you're like when you fight the vampires.
Yeah. Well, but even Resident Evil 7 has shown that you can do a first-person Resident Evil game, and I think a first-person Blade game could actually be quite good.
Okay, just like bust out this like your base thing is like a sword, and you have to like you run out of ammo and stuff, and you're just trying to survive till daytime or something like that.
Yeah, no, you're a daywalker, just like President Obama. But yeah, it's I don't know. Do we want to wrap it up, guys? I think we've covered a lot of different subjects that were pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Erik Fedorchuk. You can find me at Erik_Fedor on Instagram. There's pictures of dogs and cats and comics and food and things like that. I recently bought off of a guy on the Omnibus Collector group I'm in, the Mike Allred, Dan Slott, Silver Surfer Omnibus, because that's apparently unavailable on in-stock trades now. And it's going up in price. So I needed to jump on it right away. So yeah, there'll probably be some pictures of that eventually. And since I'm technically the host, I won't say anything too horrific.
I've been Hunter Davenport. Don't follow me anymore on social media. I will come to your house and beat you to death. I'll get more direct to those guys.
I did not quite as cantankerous, and where you're just like, don't follow me anywhere. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Or I'll go Saints Row 3 and I'll take a purple dildo and just beat you to death with it.
Check out Monster Mash Podcast every month. Lost Hero Games. Go check it out. We got cool stuff going on over there. And be cool to each other, guys. Like, don't be dicks.
Mm-hmm. I have 55 podcasts, so one of them is Smallville Chronicles, and we're coming back with season 4 this week. We just watched the 1997 Justice League pilot movie that was going to spawn a TV show, which was really bad, but starred some random people, like the guy who did the voice of the Crypt Keeper.
I still can't believe this podcast is going on when I was on the episode where you and Lou, or you and Al talked about it.
Yeah. And then we have And Now Comics, which John has been on, where we talk about comic books and stuff. That'll be coming back this week. And then Legion of Tunes, which is part of Lost Horror, which we talk about cartoons and our next, anything animated and stuff, which our next thing should be, oh my god, I just lost, I had it, Finding Vincent, which is about, it's like the rotoscope movie about like a murder mystery with Vince Van Gogh.
Interesting.
Oh, I heard good things about that one, actually.
Yes, and everything is like hand-painted. They hired like 1,000 people to paint every scene.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Might need to check that out.
Yeah, so I've heard good things about it, so I can't wait to watch it. And so we'll talk about that. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to everything.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And if you don't, I'll give you Hunter's social media things.
Yeah. And then I'll have to come to your house and beat you to death with my bare hands.
And I also just found the greatest thing in an ad on Facebook, which is a box that's a 6-pack of every direwolf in plushie form.
Oh, God.
Finally, someone will pet ghosts.
Listen,
I know.
Ghosts are all the pets. Jon Snow's a dick.
I love
John.
this.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you know the reason why they didn't have that?
Why?
They ran out of money to do the special effect.
They ran out of the money for what? For him to pet fake air.
Yes, exactly. That is what they said.
John, do you have any plugs?
I'm on Twitter, JMScott193, and yes, I just have to check to make sure I got my own Twitter handle right. Other than that, I'm on, mainly, if you want to see more episodes of me on here, I'm on the movie special episodes. I did Supergirl, which, what a hell of a way to introduce me to this little merry band of misfits.
Oh, God, yes.
And then X-Men, and we have an X-Men 2 episode coming sometime down the line. I'm not sure when, but it is coming.
And that's a good movie.
Yes, I saw 2 good movies, and then I don't know if I'm going to be on for the X-Men 3 one. If I am, God.
I can feel it coming like a freight train.
I'm trying to find my copy, and I'm like, I can't find it anymore. Oh, darn.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
what a pity. The only way I made it through X3 was with a flask of whiskey.
And yet, there are elements of X3 I do like, but it is mainly a terrible movie.
Take that the
I like
back.
the part where he says...
Listen, no, Kelsey Grammer is not a bad beast, and you know it.
Yeah, you're right. All right, I guess that's everything. So hopefully everyone enjoyed this somewhat odd one-off episode. And with that...
Hey, if you want us to run the asylum more, let us know.
Yeah, please. And also write fan fiction in your review. So,
fan fiction.
All right.
Honor doing, I don't know. He's
All right.
going to tell me what the fuck he's doing.
Good night, everybody.